to address the court on genocidal intent. Thank you.
I thank Ms. Hassim for the statement. I now give the floor to Mr. Tembeka Ngcukaitobi. You have the floor, sir.
Mr. President and members of the court, it is a privilege to appear on behalf of South Africa. Request for the indication of further provisional measures and/or the modification of the existing measures has been triggered by the military assault of Israel on Rafah, which began on the 6th and 7th of May 2024 and has intensified and escalated since. As shown by Mr. Du Plessis and Ms. Hassim, the military attack is genocidal in its pattern. I shall demonstrate that it is also consistent with the explicit, stated, and continuing genocidal intent of the State of Israel. Firstly, to the knowledge of Israel, Rafah is the last refuge of Gaza, the only remaining area in the Gaza Strip which has not been substantially destroyed by Israel, the only area that can host displaced people, the only remaining center of humanitarian aid, and the host to one of the few remaining large hospitals across the entirety of Gaza. Rafah is the last stage of the total annihilation of Palestinian life. Without Rafah, the possibility to rebuild and reconstruct Palestinian life will be lost forever. For Palestinians to continue to exist as a protected group under the Genocide Convention, they need a place from which to rebuild. As we stand here today, Rafah is that place, the last stand. Secondly, Israel also knows of explicit warnings about the genocidal consequences of an attack in Rafah. On 6 May 2024, the Director General of the World Health Organization warned that a full military incursion into Rafah will plunge the crisis into unprecedented levels of humanitarian need. On 8 May 2024, 2 days after the military attack had begun, he stressed that one of the 3 hospitals in Rafah, Al-Najjar, was no longer functioning due to the ongoing hostilities in its vicinity and the military operation in Rafah. Since the border was closed, the United Nations was prevented from bringing fuel, without which all humanitarian operations would stop. Martin Griffiths, the United Nations Relief Chief, has rung alarm bells. He has warned that the simplest truth is that a ground operation in Rafah will be nothing short of a tragedy beyond words. No humanitarian plan can counter that. The rest is detail. Palestinians do not need any more diplomatic gesturing, no more abstract words, no more virtuous condemnations and denunciations of Israel's actions. There is no more time to spare. It is simply now or never. Israel has knowledge of the pronouncements I have cited above. After all, each of them was made publicly. Thirdly, the State of Israel knows of the decisions of this court, which bear on it as a state party to the Genocide Convention directly and require of it to respect its obligations under the convention and the moral and legal authority of this court. The decision of this court on 26 January 2024 noted that the civilian population in the Gaza Strip is extremely vulnerable and that the catastrophic humanitarian situation in the Gaza Strip is at serious risk of deteriorating further before this court renders its final judgment. Bearing this in mind, the court recognized that the military operation conducted by Israel after 7 October 2023 has resulted inter alia in tens of thousands of deaths and injuries and the destruction of homes, schools, medical facilities, and other vital infrastructure, as well as displacement on a massive scale. In light of this situation, Israel was ordered to ensure with immediate effect that its military does not commit any acts that fall within Article 2 of the Genocide Convention. One of the measures indicated expressly required of Israel to take all measures within its power to prevent and punish the direct and public incitement to commit genocide in relation to members of the Palestinian group in the Gaza Strip. In the decision of 16 February 2024, this court was compelled to demand that Israel immediately and effectively implements the court's order of 26 January 2024. This court cautioned that the most recent developments in the Gaza Strip and in Rafah in particular would exponentially increase what is already a humanitarian nightmare with untold regional consequences. In the order of 28 March 2024, this court observed with regret the existence of exceptionally grave circumstances since its order of 26 January 2024 and its decision of 16 February 2024, that the catastrophic living conditions of the Palestinians in the Gaza Strip had deteriorated further, in particular in view of the prolonged and widespread deprivation of food and other basic necessities to which the Palestinians in the Gaza Strip have been subjected. The court issued its orders clearly highlighting the worsening conditions of life faced by Palestinians in Gaza. Israel was ordered to ensure with immediate effect that its military, through any action, does not commit acts which violate the rights of Palestinians under the Genocide Convention. So far, Mr. President, what I have said is not inference, not imputation. It is direct knowledge which bears on the state of Israel, its political leaders, and the members of its army. They know about Rafah and its centrality to the sustenance of Palestinian life at the present moment. They know the views of the organs of the United Nations about the consequences of a military attack on Rafah. They know what this court has ordered on each of the 3 occasions I have referenced. Yet, Israel's leaders have continued to incite genocide and to express their own genocidal intent. In doing so, not only has Israel ignored its obligations as a state party to the Genocide Convention, it has also treated this court with contempt and threatened the rule of law. Let me demonstrate this. Members of the Israeli Ministerial Committee on National Security Affairs and the War Cabinet have simply continued with incitement to genocide. First, the Israeli Prime Minister, Benjamin Netanyahu, who is a member of the War Cabinet and the Security Cabinet, has gone beyond any reference to Hamas alone. Instead, he has described Israel's aims in the military assault as being to ensure that Gaza will never again constitute a threat to Israel. He describes Israel's objective as being to achieve total victory, underscoring that no force in the world will stop us. We will stand alone, emphasizing that Israel will fight with its fingernails. Second, the Israeli Minister of Defense, Yoav Gallant, a member of both the War Cabinet and the Security Cabinet, has made it clear that Israel is taking apart neighborhood after neighborhood and will reach every location in Gaza. Third, the Israeli Minister of Finance, Bezalel Smotrich, a member of the Security Cabinet, has asserted in terms, there are no half measures. Rafah, Deir al-Balah, Nusrat, total annihilation. He goes on to say, we are negotiating with the ones that should not have existed for a long time. For Israeli members of cabinet, it is as if there is no court order which binds them. They are not the only ones, regrettably. In an interview broadcast on Israeli television on 3 May 2024, the vice chair of the international arm of the Likud party, the party to which the Israeli prime minister belongs, stated, "I think we needed to invade Rafah yesterday, to go in and to get them. There are no uninvolved. We need to go in and kill and kill and kill. We need to kill them before they kill us." Taking their cue from the politicians, the Israeli army officials have followed suit in entrenching the incitement to genocide and showing their contempt for this court. The Israeli Army Chief of Staff, Lieutenant General Herzi Halevi, stated following the Israeli army siege and destruction of Al-Shifa Hospital in March 2024, "Here is the realization of an impressive strategy. There is a very, very important message here. A hospital is not a safe place." He described the operation as a very high achievement. That is notwithstanding eyewitness reports of hundreds of civilians having been killed by Israeli troops in the hospital, including patients shot dead in their hospital beds. Mass graves and hundreds of Palestinian bodies were found following the withdrawal of the Israeli army from Al-Shifa Hospital, including bodies with cannulas in their arms, some with their limbs tied. Brigadier General David Bar Khalifa, commander of the 36th Armored Division of the Israeli Army, issued a letter to Israeli soldiers about to deploy in Gaza, exhorting them to continue the killing of Palestinians. "What has been will be no more. We shall go out to it in war. We shall pulverize every accursed plot of land from which it came. We shall destroy it and the memory of it." Brigadier Khalifa has faced no investigations, nor has he been relieved of his command. This is despite the explicit order of this court for investigations into cases of incitement to genocide. Brigadier Khalifa was in fact promoted to the rank of major and the head of the Israeli Army Personnel Division. Similarly, when 130 senior officers in the Israeli army penned a letter calling on Israel's war cabinet to not allow humanitarian supplies and the operation of hospitals in Gaza, they were not charged with incitement or prosecuted. One of the officers would later be named as involved in the killing of World Central Kitchen workers. Genocidal rhetoric is not punished, but rewarded by the Israeli government. On 6 March 2024, reservist First Sergeant Yashin, a veteran from the April 1948 Deir Yassin massacre of at least 250 Palestinians, was rewarded with a certificate of thanks and commemoration by the Israeli president for his motivational speeches he gave to Israeli soldiers as they prepared for the ground invasion of Gaza in October 2023. In at least one of those speeches, he had said, "Erase the memory of them. Erase them, their families, mothers, and children. These animals can no longer live." In his speech at the award ceremony, Israeli President Herzog told the senior reservists, including Ezra Yachin, that "You have been a tremendous personal example for generations of Israel's citizens and the whole world, and I want to, on behalf of all the Israeli people, to say to you, thank you." In their destruction of Rafah, Israeli soldiers deployed to Gaza continue to invoke the Prime Minister's speeches, which are themselves genocidal. In case what I've said is not clear enough, let us hear them in their own words. The destruction of Gaza and Palestinian life is understood by commanders and soldiers, as the video shows. An Israeli soldier from the 9203 Battalion commented as follows on photographs and footage he posted online of Palestinian homes and neighborhoods in Khan Yunis completely destroyed by the Israeli army. This year, we were honored to fulfill the command of the annihilation of Amalek, and may we finish the job. Such language continues to be widespread alongside calls by Israeli soldiers on the ground to conquer Gaza, to flatten Gaza, to erase Gaza, to destroy Gaza, and after that, Ramallah also. Israeli soldiers serving in Gaza continue to openly call for the deaths to Arabs, declaring, "May you burn alive," that Gaza is burning, that we will burn your mother, and that all of Sajaiya will burn in flames. The aims of Israel is to do no less than what its own Minister of Finance has stated. That is to ensure the total annihilation of Palestinians that will erase the memory of Amalek. He has also called for Rafah to be completely conquered, and the sooner, the better. Israel's genocidal intent continues to receive support and endorsement at the Knesset. As Tali Gottlieb, a member of the Knesset and the Prime Minister's party, has stated, to attack Rafah, as we attacked in the Northern Strip, unlike the responder, intentionally, not specifically addressing, but rather the entire Rafah system, to attack mercilessly from the air, instead of turning an eye to the Hague Court, turn an eye to the people of Israel. Public statements such as this show that even members of the Israeli parliament are fully aware of the orders of this court, but have continued to openly incite genocide without censure. Such sentiments are also widely expressed across Israeli society. Many Israelis, including Israelis living in illegal settlements in the West Bank, have actioned statements by government officials calling for the denial of aid to Gaza by destroying food aid on its way, including setting trucks on fire, putting sugar in tanks, and destroying the food itself. Israeli public officials, including singers inciting to genocide in Gaza, have had their incitement rewarded. One singer who popularized and adapted to Israel's current military operations in Gaza the racist Israel football chant, "May your village burn," changed it to "May Gaza be erased," and singing it to Israeli soldiers in live performances, was presented with a certificate of appreciation for his work for the IDF soldiers during the war by the Deputy Speaker of Knesset, hosted by Israel's Minister of Social Equality and the Advancement of Women. Another singer referenced by South Africa before this court in the January 2024 application for his call to erase Gaza and not to leave a single person there has similarly been rewarded. Both were brought to the attention of Israeli authorities in South Africa's application and pleadings before this court. Neither of them, nor any of the other Israeli officials and civilians inciting to genocide against the Palestinians, have been prosecuted, much less punished. The genocidal acts described in South Africa's application were foreseen and foreseeable from the onset. Israel's intent was always to destroy Palestinian life and to wipe them off the face of the earth. Rafah is the final stand. Without Rafah, there is no more Palestinian life in Gaza to speak of, no more Palestinian identity, and no possibility of reconstruction. Mr. President, the rule of law can only survive through the orders of this court. If the rule of law is to have any meaning, let it be today and with this case. It is no longer enough to order unhindered access to humanitarian aid when it is in fact the military operation in Gaza that is preventing it. It is no longer enough to encourage compliance with the peremptory precepts of the Genocide Convention when Israel's deliberate contempt for the international rule of law has been so plain and so public. Mr. President, it is now my honor to call upon Ms. Blene Niglori to address the courts on the remedies we ask for and why this court can and should grant the.
I thank Mr. Ngcukaitobi for his statement. J'appelle à présent Madame Lynn Nigrali Alabar.